So these are the 6 things that you should look for in a girl. Number one is a desire for improvement. And so as a man, you should be constantly trying to improve yourself. If you're not improving yourself, I did a video on 6 things that you can do. You see a card pop up on 6 things that you can do to improve yourself right now. And so you want a woman who has that burning desire, that passionate desire in her to want to improve herself, both physically, morally, and intellectually. And so what happens when you are in a relationship with a woman who's not trying to improve herself? Well, she's going to force you to do the bad habits like partying every night, wasting time playing video games, doing drugs, and basically not setting goals for yourself. But when you have a woman who's constantly trying to improve herself, when you have a woman who's constantly trying to improve herself, well, she'll motivate you. She'll want you to set goals. She'll motivate you. She'll want you to set goals. She'll believe in you. She'll have that confidence in you, in your mission, in your goal, and in your purpose. And so, which do you want? Do you want a woman who's supportive of you, trying to improve yourself because she also is improving herself? Or do you want a woman who's just living for the weekend and who's just living for the pleasure and who's just living for the pleasure that comes from instant gratification like social media and the rest? So, take your pick. Now, the second thing that you look for is what I call industry. And so, for a man, nothing gives you that gut-wrenching feeling, that pain in you, than to find a woman who is lazy. The modern day, this is actually getting more and much worse because women do not really want to do the main things that we know women to do in the house, like in terms of cooking, cleaning, and taking care of children. And this does not mean that those are only the things that women are useful for. Of course, women are useful for many other things. But just those basic things that you want a woman to do for you as a man, women do not really want to do this, even down to the point that there are some women that will even stay single up to the point of death because they do not want to just perform the labor of what a traditional woman would do, such as cleaning, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the family. And so these women, they now start feeling entitled. They now start feeling entitled that they do not want to lift a finger. They do not want to like perform perform those basic things that you want a woman to perform for you. And so the advice I'll give you, and this advice I got it from a book called The Young Man's Guide by William Andros Alcott. The advice I'll give you is avoid her like you would a pestilence. The advice that the book gives you. Avoid her like you would a pestilence because if you are in a relationship with that kind of woman and let's say you both have a child, well, she's going to pass that same feeling of entitlement down to that child, which is something you do not really want in terms of a family. So you do not want a woman who is lazy. You do not want a woman who constantly feels entitled, but you want a woman who that is hardworking, that can be able to manage things in the home, like cooking, like cleaning, like being able to take care of the family. And so that is one thing that you really want in a woman. Number three has to do with frugality. And so frugality means economical with money. And so this does not mean that you want someone who's stingy because you yourself, you know that you have to provide for your woman. And you don't want a woman who's also stingy. But if you look out there, there are tons and tons of men who have literally gone broke because of having an extravagant wife or an extravagant partner. So if you notice that she only gets satisfaction, like she gets satisfaction only from want of money or only from looking at people who are rich and constantly wanting to imitate them or to be like them, well, that is actually how you notice that this person is extravagant. When she actually gets to dip her hand into your wallet, well, she's not going to let go of it. And so with women who are extravagant, you are not going to have peace and you are not going to have property. So you want a woman who can be able to spend, but you want a woman who can be able to do so moderately. You don't want a woman who's extravagant, who only gets pleasure from, wanting to imitate rich people or wanting to constantly be like the rich. But you want a woman who knows how to spend, but does so in moderation. Number four has to do with love of domestic concerns. Now, in terms of love of domestic concerns, you want a woman who knows how things are done like in a family. This also goes back to number three, which talks about industry. But you want a woman who has knowledge of family affairs. For example, a woman who knows not only the ingredients to put in a pie or a pudding, but who knows how to bake the pie or the pudding herself. So you want a woman who can be able to make sure that food is well cooked in a home. There's no wastage, there's a clean table, all those things, all those basic things that you want a woman to do for you. Nothing preserves a man's heart than having that accomplishment that you have a woman that can be able to take care of all those things in your home. Nothing brings more pleasure to a man's heart than to be able to have that accomplishment that yes, you do have a woman that is able to make food, make sure the food is well cooked, make sure the house is clean, make sure the table is clean. Nothing brings pleasure to a man's heart than this. Which moves us on to number five. Number five has to do with fondness of children. And so This actually goes in both ways, because whether man or woman, you do not want a partner who hates children, because in the world now, almost everything can be bought, but one of the things that cannot be bought is maternal love. And so that maternal love, even if it is gold, that maternal love cannot be bought. So you want a partner who has that maternal love and that desire for moral improvement. So you want a partner who has that maternal love and that desire for moral improvement. And how do you know if she has as well? You can look around her in terms of, does she have younger siblings like brothers or sisters? Does she have younger cousins? Does she have, like, let's say, are there any young kids in the neighborhood? How does she treat those children? Because one thing with children is that children do not lie. So when that child like hears her voice, how does that child react? And so the way that child reacts actually shows the kind of love that she has towards them. Because with children, if you love children, well, they are going to love you back. So these are the 5 things you should look for in a woman.